are deep divers, ready to go deep.
Always.
Awesome. So today, we're diving into the world of stress management.
Ooh, good topic.
Right. I think it's something we can all relate to.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're going to be using some insights from the CDC and WebMD.
Great sources.
Yeah. So, everyone experiences stress. It's a normal human response.
Totally.
But it's super important to understand the difference between, occasional stress, and that long-term stress. Because long-term stress can really have a serious impact on your health.
Yeah, definitely. That's the stuff we want to watch out for.
Exactly. And we're going to uncover some really surprising ways that stress shows up.
Oh, yeah, some sneaky ones.
Yeah, and some easy, practical tips for coping.
Love it.
So first up, let's talk about the stress response. What actually happens in our bodies when we're stressed?
Okay, so basically it's like this, it's that fight or flight response, right?
Right.
Your muscles tense up, your heart rate and breathing increase.
Wow.
And even, your short-term memory gets a boost. WebMD has this really vivid description of it.
Really?
Yeah, it's like your brain going into overdrive, like it's getting ready to, escape danger.
Oh, wow. That makes sense.
Yeah, so it goes back to, our evolutionary past.
Right.
It was a survival mechanism.
Right. Run away from the saber-toothed tiger or whatever.
Exactly. But the thing is, modern stressors are different.
Oh, interesting.
So, instead of facing an immediate threat, we're dealing with this constant low-level stress.
Oh, I see. So it's always on.
Exactly. And that can lead to chronic stress.
So you're saying that some stress is actually good for us?
In a way, yeah.
Okay, how so?
Think about it. Like that surge of energy you feel when you have a deadline.
Okay, yeah.
That stress helping you perform under pressure.
I see.
Or when you have to think on your feet and solve a problem quickly.
Oh, right, like when you're put on the spot.
Exactly. That's stress giving you that extra boost.
So it's it can motivate us too.
Absolutely. Short-term stress can be super helpful.
Yeah. But then there's that flip side, right? The long-term stress.
Right, and that's where things get tricky.
Because the CDC article, it actually lists a bunch of effects of chronic stress.
Oh, yeah, and some of them are not so obvious.
Yeah, beyond the usual headaches and fatigue, there are some really surprising ones.
Did you know stress can mess with your sleep?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm a terrible sleeper when I'm stressed.
And your appetite, too. It can go either way.
Yeah.
Some people eat more when they're stressed, others eat less.
That's so true. I definitely lose my appetite when I'm stressed out.
And even, changes in your desires and interests.
Oh, interesting.
You might find yourself, less interested in things you used to enjoy.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then there are the, really unexpected things.
Like what?
Nightmares, skin rashes, even worsening chronic health issues.
Seriously? That's wild.
Yeah, stress can really wreak havoc on your body.
It's it's not just in your head.
Exactly. It affects everything.
So how do you even know if you're stressed?
That's a good question.
What are some signs to look out for?
Well, WebMD has this big list of emotional and behavioral signs.
Okay.
Some of them are pretty obvious, like being irritable or feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's me all the time.
But there are some that you might not even realize are related to stress.
Oh, like what?
Like social withdrawal. Or you suddenly, canceling plans and avoiding people.
Well, it's so me.
Or feeling unmotivated and unfocused.
Yeah, that too.
And even changes in your sexual drive.
Oh, wow. I never thought about that.
It's all connected.
So, to our listener, if any of this is sounding familiar,
Yeah, pay attention.
maybe it's time to take a closer look at how stress is impacting you.
Definitely.
And the good news is we've got some really practical advice on how to manage it.
We do. And this isn't just, random advice.
Okay.
This is stuff from reputable sources, the CDC and WebMD.
Okay, so let's dive into these actionable strategies.
Let's do it.
One that really stood out to me from the CDC article was taking breaks from news and social media.
Oh, that's a big one.
Right. It's we're constantly bombarded with information, especially negative news.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
And I feel like that just keeps us in a state of heightened alert.
Absolutely. Our brains are wired to pay attention to threats.
Right.
So all that negative stuff, it just keeps our stress response activated.
So it's we're overloading our systems.
Exactly.
And then we wonder why we're so stressed.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, totally. What about some of the other strategies? WebMD had some interesting ones too.
One that I really like is engaging in hobbies you enjoy.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's not just about relaxing. It's about actually doing things that bring you joy.
I love that.
Tap into your creativity, challenge yourself, get lost in something you love.
It's funny because when I'm stressed, my instinct is to just veg out on the couch.
Yeah, I get that.
But I always feel so much better after I go for a run or paint or something.
And that makes sense. Exercise is another powerful tool for managing stress.
Oh, tell me about it.
It's not just about physical health. It's about actually helping your body process those stress hormones.
So it's like literally getting that energy out.
Exactly. And it releases endorphins, which have mood-boosting effects.
That's so true. I always feel so much more clear-headed after a good workout.
It works?
The CDC also recommends practicing gratitude daily.
Oh, I love that one.
Is there any science behind that, or is it just like a feel-good thing?
It's actually backed by research. Focusing on the positive can literally rewire your brain.
Wow, seriously?
Yeah, it's called neuroplasticity.
Okay, I'm listening.
Our brains are constantly adapting based on our experiences, so by choosing to focus on the good, we're training our brains to be more positive.
So it's like building mental muscle.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And that makes you more resilient to stress.
This is blowing my mind. Okay, but what about when stress feels really overwhelming? Like it's taking over your life.
Yeah, that's when it's important to remember that it's okay to ask for help.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If you've tried managing it on your own and it's not working, or if you're having thoughts of harming yourself,
Right.
reach out to a mental health professional.
Absolutely. And the CDC specifically mentions the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
It's a great resource.
Yeah, remember, you're not alone, and there is help available.
It's so important to remember that.
So before we go any further, let's just recap what we've learned so far.
Okay, good idea.
We've established that stress is a normal part of life.
Right. It's not always bad
But chronic stress can have some serious consequences.
for both our physical and mental health.
Exactly. And while there are some great practical tips for managing stress, sometimes we need to dig a little deeper.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
And that's what we'll be discussing in the next part of our deep dive.
Yeah, wait.
We're going to explore the mindset piece of stress management, those pesky thought patterns and beliefs that can keep us feeling trapped in a cycle of stress.
It's all about reframing those thoughts.
Exactly.
Stay tuned.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the deep dive. We just finished talking about how our bodies actually react to stress.
Right, the whole fight or flight thing.
Yeah, and some practical tips for managing it day to day.
Absolutely.
Now, I want to get into this whole mindset aspect you mentioned.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
It's kind of crazy to think that our thoughts could actually be creating more stress.
Oh, totally. Our minds are powerful.
So how does that even work?
Well, think of it this way. Our minds are like filters, right?
Okay.
And if you have a negative filter, you're going to see more threats and problems, even if they're not really there.
Oh, that makes sense.
So let's say you're nervous about giving a presentation, right?
Presentation.
Instead of focusing on your preparation and the opportunity to share your ideas,
Right.
your mind might jump to, oh my God, I'm going to mess up. Everyone's going to judge me. My career is over.
Oh my God, that's me, literally me.
Yeah, and those thoughts, they trigger a stress response in your body.
Wow, even though it's not even happening.
Exactly. You're basically putting yourself through it multiple times in your mind and then in reality.
So it's double the stress.
Pretty much.
So how do we break free from that cycle?
It's not always easy, but becoming aware of your self-talk is huge.
Okay, self-talk.
Start paying attention to that inner voice.
Yeah.
What kind of messages are you sending yourself?
It's funny because I would never talk to a friend the way I talk to myself sometimes.
I know, right? We can be so hard on ourselves.
It's I have this inner critic that's always on my case.
And we can learn to challenge those thoughts.
Oh, interesting.
Ask yourself, is this thought helpful? Is it even true?
So it's fact-checking your own thought.
Exactly.
Okay, I can try that.
And then you can start to reframe them in a more balanced and realistic way.
So instead of spiraling into a pit of despair over that presentation,
Yeah,
I could reframe it as an opportunity to, learn and grow,
I love that.
even if things don't go perfectly.
That's all about perspective.
That brings up another point, focusing on what you can control.
Oh, that's huge.
Right, because a lot of our stress comes from feeling overwhelmed by things that are totally out of our control.
Like traffic.
Ugh, yes.
Or the weather. Or your favorite team losing the championship.
Okay, that one hurts.
But we can't control those things, right?
Sadly, no.
So instead of wasting energy on that stuff, shift your focus to what you can actually influence.
I like that.
You can't control the traffic, but you can control what time you leave the house
Okay, true.
or how you choose to respond to the situation.
That's a good point.
It's about taking back your power.
This is making me realize how much I stress about things I literally can't do anything about.
So, it's a common trap.
It's I'm constantly trying to control the uncontrollable.
And that just leads to frustration.
Yeah, for sure.
So focus on the actions you can take to move forward.
Even if it's just like baby steps?
Exactly. Even small wins can make a big difference.
I love that.
It helps you feel more in control, less helpless.
Okay, this is all starting to make sense, but what about situations that are just inherently stressful?
Yeah, like job interviews
Yeah. Don't even get me started.
or difficult conversations.
Yeah, those are the worst.
Is there a way to, like, mentally prepare for that kind of stuff?
I hope so.
There is. It's helpful to have some coping mechanisms in place.
Okay, coping mechanisms.
Things like deep breathing exercises or mindfulness techniques.
Okay, deep breaths, mindfulness, got it.
They can help regulate your nervous system and calm your mind down.
So it's like hitting the reset button.
Exactly.
But what exactly is mindfulness?
So mindfulness is basically about paying attention to the present moment without judgment.
Okay.
It's about noticing your thoughts, your feelings, your sensations without getting carried away by them.
So it's like hitting the pause button on that constant stream of thoughts
Exactly.
and just being present in the moment.
You got it.
I've tried meditation before, but I always struggle with the whole like clearing my mind part.
Yeah, that's a common misconception.
Really?
Mindfulness isn't about stopping your thoughts altogether.
Oh, okay.
It's about noticing them without judgment and gently redirecting your attention back to the present.
So it's okay if my mind wanders.
Totally. It's going to happen.
I just need to gently guide it back.
Exactly, like training a puppy.
I love that analogy.
It takes time and practice, but you'll get there.
This is all so helpful. I'm starting to see how, like, shifting my mindset can really make a difference.
The powerful stuff.
Is there anything else we can do to create a more, like, stress-resilient life?
One of the most important things is setting boundaries.
Okay, boundaries.
Think of them as protecting your time, energy, and well-being.
I like that.
It's about knowing your limits and communicating them clearly.
So it's like saying no?
Sometimes, yeah.
I'm such a people pleaser.
I get it. It's hard to say no.
I always feel bad letting people down, so I end up saying yes to things I really don't have time for.
And then you end up feeling resentful and overwhelmed.
Ugh, yes, the worst.
Boundaries are about self-care.
It's like giving yourself permission to prioritize your own needs.
Oh, exactly.
It can be so hard.
It is, but it's essential. You can't pour from an empty cup.
That's such a good analogy.
Taking care of yourself allows you to show up more fully for others.
So we've talked about mindset shifts, coping mechanisms, and setting boundaries.
That's a lot.
Is there anything else?
Oh, one more thing.
Connection.
Connection, yeah.
We're social creatures, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And strong social connections are crucial for our well-being.
So, like, when we're feeling stressed, reaching out to friends and family can actually help.
Absolutely. Talking to someone you trust can provide so much relief and support.
I know when I'm stressed, my instinct is to isolate myself.
I get that. It's a common response.
But I always feel so much better after connecting with a friend.
It's like sharing your burdens lightens the load.
Yeah, and it reminds you that you're not alone.
Exactly. It's like having a team of cheerleaders in your corner. What if you're someone who doesn't have a big circle of friends and family?
That's a great question.
Like, how do you cultivate those connections?
There are lots of ways, like joining clubs or groups that align with your interests,
Okay, so find your people.
or volunteering for a cause you care about,
I love that.
even just striking up a conversation with someone at the coffee shop.
I think it's easy to underestimate those small interactions.
Yeah, they can really make a difference.
This is all such valuable advice.
It really is.
So to recap, managing stress isn't just about like quick fixes or relaxation techniques.
That's a whole lifestyle thing.
It's about like a holistic approach.
Addressing our thoughts, behaviors, and connections.
Exactly. And creating a more supportive environment for ourselves.
We're almost done with our deep dive.
I know, it's flown by.
But when we come back, we'll be diving into some specific techniques for stress reduction and relaxation.
Can't wait. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been talking about like mindset shifts and boundaries and connections.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
All the good stuff. But now I want to get into some like specific techniques
Okay, that's good.
for finding that sense of calm, you know?
Yes, amidst the chaos.
Amidst the chaos. Like those go-to strategies for when stress starts to creep in.
We all need those.
I'm especially curious about like meditation and yoga.
Oh yeah, those are classics.
Do they really work?
They totally can. And there's actually a lot of research to back it up.
Really?
Yeah, like meditation, for example.
Okay.
Studies have shown that it can reduce stress hormones, improve sleep, even change the structure of your brain.
Wow, that's
It's
amazing.
not just some woo-woo thing.
Right, it's like legit science.
Exactly.
I'll admit, I've always been a little intimidated by meditation.
I get
The
that.
whole, like, clearing your mind thing.
Yeah, it sounds impossible.
Is it really just about, like, sitting there trying to think about nothing?
It's not about emptying your mind completely. It's more about observing your thoughts
Oh, okay.
without judgment
Right.
and gently redirecting your attention to something specific.
Like what?
Your breath, a mantra, even just the sensations in your body.
So if I find my mind wandering, which I totally will,
You will. It's normal.
I don't need to freak out.
Nope. Just gently guide it back.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
It's like training a puppy. It takes practice.
I love that analogy. What about yoga?
Yoga's awesome.
I know it's like stretching and poses,
Right.
but how does that help with stress?
So yoga works on both the physical and mental levels.
Okay.
The poses help release tension, improve flexibility, and you become more aware of your body.
I see.
And a lot of yoga practices also incorporate deep breathing and mindfulness.
Oh, so it's like a 2-for-1 deal.
Exactly. You're working out and calming your mind at the same time.
Sign me up. Are there any other, like, stress-busting techniques we should know about?
Oh, tons. Deep breathing exercises are super helpful.
Okay, deep breaths.
Like when you're feeling overwhelmed, they can quickly calm you down.
I need that.
There are a lot of different techniques, but one of the simplest is box breathing.
Box breathing.
Yeah. You inhale for a count of 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold again for 4.
I'm already feeling more relaxed just thinking about it.
It's powerful stuff.
Are there any other, like, quick and easy ones like that?
Another good one is progressive muscle relaxation.
Oh, I've heard of that.
You basically tense and release different muscle groups in your body.
Oh, okay.
It's really good for relieving physical tension.
Which often comes with stress.
Exactly.
So we've got meditation, yoga, deep breathing, and muscle relaxation.
That's a good start.
It's like a whole stress-fighting toolkit.
And the key is to find what works for you.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's different.
Experiment. See what you like.
Find what makes you feel good.
That's the most important thing.
It's so true. Like, what works for one person might not work for another.
And, amidst all these techniques and strategies, don't forget about self-compassion.
Oh, that's important.
We talked about the negative self-talk, but we also need to be kind to ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. What does self-compassion even look like?
It's like treating yourself with the same kindness you would offer a friend.
Okay.
When you're stressed, acknowledge your feelings without judgment.
Like, don't beat yourself up.
Exactly. Remind yourself that everyone makes mistakes, you're doing the best you can, you're worthy of love and support.
It's so easy to be hard on ourselves.
It is, but we need to break that cycle.
I love that. So as we wrap up this deep dive into stress management, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
That stress is a normal part of life, but it doesn't have to control us.
I love that.
We have the power to manage it.
By understanding how it works, recognizing our triggers, and developing healthy coping mechanisms.
You can create a more balanced and joyful life.
So well said. And to our listener, we've given you a lot of great tools today, but the real work starts now. Take this knowledge, apply it to your own life. Start small, be consistent, and be kind to yourself along the way. Until next time, happy diving.